Still have a crash on eastbound 24 in Pleasant View at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass, and it's still blocked off this morning in Williamsport at Williamsport Pike at Leatherwood Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends at Better Water LLC, and I'm very excited to be joining you today live from the home studio in Murfreesboro. We are iced in as you guys are, so you can join us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. You can get a look at the home studio. I saw the chats during the crisscross handoff, and I would like all of you to know you made my wife cry when you accused the plant behind me of being fake. It's a real plant. I can't believe you would do that to my wife. It's terrible. I think you all owe her an apology, so you can hop over into the YouTube chat, leave that apology, hit like and subscribe while you're there. We got a lot to get to. Today's show is really going to be for our plow guys out there, our electrical guys out there. We appreciate you all. We salute you and thank you. Just absolute chaos over the weekend. Hundreds of thousands left without electricity across Middle Tennessee. We had ice and snow bringing down trees, bringing down power lines. It was like 300,000 people at the peak of the storm were without power. Nashville Electric Service has reported 48% of customers without power at one point. Restoration is going to be taking a couple of days because of the extensive damage that we saw due to the ice, but they're working around the clock, and we salute those guys for doing so. Local providers across Middle Tennessee saw widespread outages and slow recovery as well, and it all came back to those down trees and the ice damage lines, resulting in just some disruptions across the state. Trees, limbs snapping under the weight. They've been falling on houses. They've been falling on vehicles and power lines across the region. You've seen the pictures on social media as well as I have. Prayers to all of those that are dealing with that kind of interruption in their daily life. It's just been chaotic. I hope that you haven't had to go on the roads. If you had, you probably saw we saw multiple traffic incidences, crashes all over the place due to the ice, due to the slick roads. That is going to continue. You might hear today that the roads, the main roads are looking better. That may be the case, and I pray that they get better very, very soon. But the chaos that we're going to see on the roads is not going anywhere because the weather, the cold air, the cold temperatures are not going anywhere. It's going to be at least a couple days before we see all of this cleaned up. And, I mean, what did they say? I think I heard Joan in the newscast saying it was the most cancellations in American history over the weekend for flights. Unreal. The ice storm is still creating some dangerous conditions. You're still going to see tree limbs falling as the day continues. So keep your head on a swivel as you're out there and just pray that it all kind of wraps up soon. We saw a couple deaths over the weekend as well. 3 deaths reported due to the storm, and we're sending prayers out to the families and the loved ones that are dealing with that today as well. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. You knew there was going to be something like that. You still never like to see it. At least 3 weather-related deaths confirmed in Tennessee, Crockett, Haywood County, Obion County, and the like. But it's a mess, man. It's an absolute mess out there. We're going to keep you updated on all of it. We'll be keeping our eyes on the roads, keeping you updated on traffic. And again, we'll just be trying to at least bring you the latest news that happened over the weekend that wasn't weather-related as well, and we'll be trying to keep you guys entertained, the workers, the movers, the shakers that are out there that can't be slowed down with weather events like this. We'll have the latest for you. Ice dominated the news cycle over the weekend, and if it wasn't ice in Middle Tennessee in this massive weather storm that we saw, it was ice in Minnesota, and that's where we're going to begin our show today. The Trump administration dealing with the fallout of another shooting in Minnesota. DHS law enforcement was conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis on Saturday against an illegal alien wanted for a violent assault. In the midst of this targeted operation, we saw what we always see. The ICE Watch goons come out, the whistles are being blown, and they are impeding and they're obstructing. During that operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers. This individual was armed with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the safety of others around him, an agent fired defensive shots. That's the statement that we got from the Department of Homeland Security. It does look like this is fueled by leftist politicians. And there's a lot of conversation today with this shooting from the conservative side where they're saying you shouldn't be out at a violent protest with a firearm. I reject those notions. I am very pro-Second Amendment, whether you are a conservative or a leftist. I think that you have the right to bear arms. That being said, it creates another element of danger when you are showing up to a protest armed and you're going to impede and obstruct. This individual was not shot because he had a firearm. He was shot because he was impeding and obstructing. We're going to talk about all of it. President Trump and his administration said they were reviewing everything about the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy. Says federal agents will leave Minneapolis at some point. This is from the New York Post. President Trump said his administration is reviewing the fatal shooting of an armed ICU nurse who was protesting ICE in Minneapolis before Border Patrol agents shot him dead in the street. We're reviewing everything, and we'll come out with a determination, Trump told the Wall Street Journal in a 5-minute phone call Sunday night, without providing his own opinion on whether the actions of the officer who shot the anti-ICE protester were justified. I just think we need to back up, and we need to remember how many videos we have seen of leftist agitators saying enough is enough. We need to go at these ICE agents, these Border Patrol agents, with weapons. We need to confront them violently. I've seen dozens, hundreds of videos where leftists are saying the time for talking is over, the time for violence is now. We understand the rhetoric that is coming out of these leftist ecosystems in states like Minnesota. They are looking out for the protesters and demonizing the ICE agents. What do you think is going to happen? Things are going to get more violent. And Border Patrol and ICE agents are operating in that same mindset. And they should be. They want to get home to their families. This incident happened, very tragic, but this individual didn't need to be there. He didn't need to be impeding and obstructing, and it would have never happened had he stayed home. The slain protester, 37-year-old Alex Preddy, was carrying a loaded pistol during the fatal confrontation with federal agents. He did have a concealed carry permit, according to Minnesota officials. Trump called Preddy's gun a Sig Sauer P3 29mm pistol, a very dangerous and unpredictable gun. It's a gun that goes off when people don't know it. There has been documented cases of that. Preddy, an ICU nurse for a veterans hospital, put himself between federal agents and a woman they had pepper sprayed. He was then sprayed himself, tackled by several agents, bashed with an object, according to footage online. Viral video of the struggle between the nurse and the federal officers appear to show an agent removing the pistol from Preddy's waistband as others hold him on the ground seconds before 10 shots can be heard. There are a lot of people watching this video, a lot of armchair detectives telling you what happened. It's all going to shake out. We're all going to learn exactly what happened very soon. This video, to me, was far less obvious than the Renee Nicole Good video. The Renee Nicole Good video was not as chaotic as this one. However, when you look at slowed down versions of the video, it does appear that before Preddy is fired upon by these agents, he reaches for his waistband. I don't know if that's the case. It looked that way in a slowed down video to me. I don't know if that makes it justified or not. What was he reaching for? It's still up for debate. But I can tell you, none of this would have happened if the ICE agents were allowed to do their job unimpeded. They weren't. Again, the viral video is everywhere. You see the struggle between the officers and Preddy. He reaches for his waistband before shots fired. Preddy's body goes limp as the agents scatter. The footage shows he's later pronounced dead at the scene. The clip has raised questions of whether the pistol accidentally went off when retrieved by the agent, spooking the others and leading to the fatal shots. Federal officials initially claimed that Preddy charged at ICE agents while armed with a gun, but videos taken by bystanders show him approaching the middle of the road with his phone in his hand. The Department of Homeland Security, which said its agents acted in self-defense, is investigating the shooting along with the help of the FBI. A Minnesota judge quickly slapped a temporary restraining order, barring federal officials from destroying or altering any evidence connected to the case. Soon after the smoke cleared, President Trump blamed Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Fry, saying the mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. President Trump posted on Truth Social Saturday, the sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States. Trump administration officials took up the call shortly after, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Gregory Bavino, who called his agents the victims and speculated that Preddy had answered Democrats' supposed calls to resist ICE. Trump on Sunday also said he would eventually withdraw the thousands of federal agents he and his administration flooded to the Twin Cities over the past month to address widespread multi-billion-dollar fraud allegations, saying, at some point, we will leave. They've done a phenomenal job, he told the Wall Street Journal. You can't let these agents leave until the violence stops. I mean, we talked about this last week. Yes, there are a lot of agents in Minnesota, but one of the key reasons why they're there is because they're dealing with a lot of lunatic leftist agitators, some paid, some useful idiots. A lot of these agents are there just to protect the agents that are doing the targeted enforcement operations, and we all know that. There's no getting around that. So we had more violence over the weekend. If you haven't seen the stabilized video, that it looks to confirm that Alex Preddy was reaching for his waistband after he was disarmed by these agents. You can find it on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back, but the video is there. I've just retweeted it for you. That's what it looks like to me. I could be wrong. Kristi Noem was asked about this over the weekend, and she was making her rounds. This was Kristi Noem on Fox News talking about the shooting that took place in Minnesota over the weekend.
Part of this investigation will be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground. But we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony. When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process. These officers used their training, followed their protocols, and were in fear of their lives and the people around them. And that's how this tragedy unfolded, and we hope we never see it again. It grieves me to think about what his family is going through, but it also grieves me what's happening to these law enforcement officers every day out on the streets with the violence that they face. Part of this
and listen, she's right. Every day these officers are encountering violence. 1,300% increase in assaults on ICE agents. We understand that really goes back to the rhetoric that we're seeing from the left. Was this individual, Preddy, should he have been shot? I mean, I don't think so. I think he should have been at home. I don't think he should have been out there impeding and obstructing ICE agents. That being said, you can't argue with the fact that he was 100% aggressive in the video. That there were lawful commands that were shouted at this individual that he ignored. It's sad, but this is something that he did on his own. There's a lot to get to, and we're going to be covering all of it today here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN as you continue to remain snowed in. So hang out with us. We got a lot more on the way. It is 9:19. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
news or? Coming up, 2 court hearings over the Minneapolis ICE operations are happening today. Also, an ICE officer is missing a finger, bitten off by an agitator. Those stories coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A ICU nurse, that's the individual that was shot. His name is Alex Preddy, shot by ICE agents. And a lot of people want to talk about it. If you want to join the conversation, 615-737-9986. I'm looking in the YouTube chat, and I'm already being accused of spreading misinformation and being a bootlicker. And I offered the nice liberal, you're welcome to call in. You're welcome to join the show. And if I'm spreading misinformation, you're more than welcome to balance that out. Still waiting on that call. I don't think he's going to be calling in. He said, what did Kyle Rittenhouse, what was so different with Kyle Rittenhouse? Why didn't he get killed? And I made the point, Kyle Rittenhouse didn't interfere with federal agents. I mean, it's a huge difference. It really is. Alex Preddy, 100% was in the mix, agitating, impeding, obstructing with federal agents. That being said, I still don't wish the guy got killed. I still think that it's a heartbreaking story. And as Vice President Vance said about Renee Nicole Good, is it a tragedy? Sure, but it's a tragedy of his own making. Alex Preddy, the anti-ICE agitator who was shot in Minneapolis on Saturday, was told by his parents not to engage with federal officers while attending the protests in Minnesota. His mom and dad said, Alex, if you go down there, don't mix it up with federal agents. He should have listened to mom and dad. Alex would still be here today. Instead, Preddy showed up carrying a gun with 2 loaded magazines, and he went in and he got in between ICE agents and a woman. He should have never done that. He shouldn't have. Again, if you haven't seen the slowed down version of the video, yes, he was disarmed by a federal agent before he was shot. But if you look at the slowed down version that's available on my Twitter page, at Chris Hand on Air, it does appear that Alex Preddy is reaching for his waistband in the moments before he was shot. The whole thing is still heartbreaking, man. It really is. But one thing that I'm noticing is that even with the facts on our side, it really doesn't matter to your average leftist what the facts are. Because as you can hear in this clip I'm about to play you from Minnesota's, Minneapolis' police chief, Brian O'Hara, he says the quiet part out loud here, that even if the investigation proves the shooting was legally justified, even if the shooting was legally justified, the Minneapolis police chief doesn't think that even matters. Listen to this.
From what you have seen in the public space and heard from federal officials, is there any evidence that you know of that Preddy was assaulting the federal officers as the Border Patrol chief claims?
Well, I've seen the videos just as thousands of people around the country have, and the videos speak for themselves. I think it's deeply concerning, the things that are being said. This is an individual that was a city resident. It appears that he was present, exercising his First Amendment rights to record law enforcement activity, and also exercising his Second Amendment rights to lawfully be armed in a public space in the city. So I think very obviously there are serious questions that are being raised, and I think the greater issue is, even if there is an investigation that ultimately proves that at the time of the shooting it was legally justified, I don't think that even matters at this point, because there is so much outrage and concern around what is happening in the city.
Even if the investigation proves that the shooting was legally justified, I don't think that even matters, says the Minneapolis Chief of Police, Brian O'Hara. Facts matter, guys. I think that we need to take a step back from this standpoint. People are upset, so the facts don't matter. Even if the shooting was legally justified, that doesn't matter, according to the Minneapolis Police Chief, Brian O'Hara. No. This is at the core of the issue. Was or was not the shooting justified? If you watch the video, yes, the shooting was justified. Yes. It's still heartbreaking. It's still sad. But it matters. It matters. Yes, when you watch the video, he was impeding and he was obstructing. Yes, you have your right to your First Amendment, 100%. Yes, you have your right to the Second Amendment, 100%. I'm not even mad that he showed up to the protest with a gun. In fact, that's probably one of the smarter things that you can do when you're around a bunch of lawless, violent leftists. That being said, this had nothing to do with the First Amendment. It had very little to do with the Second Amendment. It had to do with the fact that Alex Preddy put himself between agents and the job they were trying to do. He FA'd. He FO'd. It's sad, but that's exactly what happened. 9:30, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Federal judges are hearing two separate cases today related to the ongoing surge of immigration agents in Minnesota. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison will be in court for one of them. He'll argue for an end to Operation Metro Surge. He blames ICE agents for, quote, tremendous damage there. Now, a separate hearing after Minnesota sued the Trump administration over evidence gathered from the scene of the shooting of agitator Alex Preddy. He's the man who was shot and killed by ICE agents on Sunday. Meantime, President Trump has dispatched border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota, saying in a Truth Social post that Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, meantime, says that the illegal alien who ICE agents were supposed to be arresting on Saturday is still on the loose now. That operation to arrest him was suspended after the shooting. Meantime, another agitator has bitten off an ICE agent's finger in Minneapolis. 2 people have been arrested in that case. A private jet carrying 8 people has crashed in Maine. This happened last night as heavy snowfall battered that region. The plane went down just after taking off from Bangor International Airport. The jet that crashed is registered to a Houston-based law firm. That's the latest news. We've got your weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, man, we don't have to worry about the water issues that we have at the house today because we're dealing with ice. Well, here's a spoiler alert. Ice melts and it becomes water. And when that water comes back, the water damage does as well. And it's not going to fix itself. If the water's getting into your crawl space and into your basement, it's messing with your foundation. Foundation problems don't get cheaper, and waiting is only going to make things worse. If water is getting into your basement or crawl space, you need to call people you can trust. This is where United Structural Systems comes in. They have been doing the waterproofing and the foundation repair in Middle Tennessee since 1994. These guys are experts, and they're going to track down where the water is coming in, and they're going to install permanent solutions using American-made materials backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. No scare tactics, no temporary fixes, just straightforward answers and work that holds up and stands the test of time. If you're seeing moisture, cracks, doors that won't shut right, now is the time to act. Call United Structural Systems today. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or find them online, ussTN.com.
Real estate guaranteed offer. You're going to save time, make the most money, and
me go use the bathroom real quick. Appreciate you being here. Whether you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial, you're watching us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends, and we appreciate you guys doing that. I guess RJ left my mic up right before I went to use the restroom a moment ago. And just for those of you that are asking in the text line and in the chat, I did wash my hands. So appreciate you guys just being on top of it. You guys are the best. You're welcome to join the show, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Let's kick things off with Susan on line one. Susan, welcome into the Chris Hand Show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for picking me first. Wow. So I'm Susan from formerly Tennessee, now Kentucky. So all I want to say is that these people, and I hate to say it, they turn into idiots. They're in over their head. The good lady that was blocking traffic, she was at the head of this group that she put her car all the way in the front. She was impeding cops the most, completely in over her head. Nobody, they don't report it enough that her girlfriend, or they weren't married, you know, told her, go up there and block it at the head. So she was the beginning of the problem, in over her head, doesn't know what she's doing. You know, useful idiots, I hate to say it. They think they're out there for a cause. And then this guy, too, you know, they have this need for this self-importance. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to protest. And it's like, you don't even know what you're doing. You know, things happen so fast with law enforcement. They happen so fast. I have told my boys repeatedly, if the cop pulls you over, do what he tells you. If he throws you on the ground, do what he tells you. At some point, he's going to realize that you're fine and he will let you go. But when they walk up to a situation, the way that they have to assess it, you know, people have no idea what cops and law enforcement deal with just to assess the situation. So that's all I had to say.
No, hey, I'm with you 100%, and I appreciate the call, Susan. It just goes back to context matters. You know, we see a 40-second clip of the incident, which you can see a slowed down version on my X account at Chris Hand on Air, but we don't get the context of the day, the hour, the 10 minutes before. We see none of that, and then we're asked to make a determination. Well, if I'm making a determination based on the video, it looks like someone who is impeding and obstructing got himself into a situation that he couldn't handle. It escalated past his control. He lost his life because of it. He should have taken his parents' advice. He should have taken his parents' advice.
Not worth it. That would kill me. That would kill me if my boys did that. That would just kill me. I've told them, don't use wisdom. Use wisdom, okay? Situational awareness is very important. And Minnesota, I've never seen a more dysfunctional place in my life. For crying out loud. I'm from Chicago. I'm aware of there's times where I think, you know what, I should pull out and just leave them to themselves and just watch them hang themselves. You know, so anyway, that's it.
I hear you, Susan, and I appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. But, I mean, this guy knew what he was getting into. His mom and dad warned him. Family members of Preddy said that he owned a handgun. He had a permit to carry in Minnesota. But in recent conversations with their son, the parents told him not to engage with federal officers. We had this discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so. You know, that go ahead and protest, but do not engage. Do not do anything stupid, basically. That was per his dad to CBS News. And he said he knows that. He said he knew that. Apparently not. 615-737-9986. Jake on line 2. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Jake?
Good morning. It's your favorite caller. How are you today?
Oh, the seminar caller. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. So, yeah, I'd like to make a comment, and then also I have a question for you. And my comment is, and I'm saying this in all seriousness, I'm a grandchild of German Jews. Fortunately, my grandparents were lucky enough and had the foresight enough to get out of Dodge in the late 30s, and they were fortunate enough to be able to come here.
That's amazing.
I've never been able to wrap my head around, you know, not Hitler and his minion, you know, his immediate inner circle, but how did he get everyday Germans, you know, normal, educated, regular people? Oh, excuse me. How did he get everyday, regular Germans to go along with this kind of insanity? And there's a saying for those people. They were good little Germans. Excuse me, something went down the wrong pipe. But anyway, yeah, so what I was saying is it's not until MAGA.
Oh, gosh, you all right there, buddy? You doing okay?
Yeah, no, I was scarfing breakfast down. Let me take a swig of coffee here. Hold on.
All right. I mean, but if you can't get a thought out, man, I'm gonna have to go to somebody else. Like I was gonna give you time to make your point, but if you're just doing this to waste my time, like I'm just gonna let you go.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm doing.
Okay, then make your point.
So my point is,
we're the Nazis. We're the bad guys. That's where you're going with it.
I can see how I can see how it happens.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally get it.
I can see how it happens too. You know, before Hitler rose to power, leftists like you were overrunning Germany and
what
just
if I-
turning the place into an absolute hellhole. The
Wait,
the
you're
parallels
justifying-
between Weimar
you're
Germany and
justifying
what
the-
the
you're
Joe Biden
justifying the
administration
Nazis
was
now?
very similar. But
Now you're
yeah,
justifying the
I hope
Nazis.
nothing like that
Look,
happens
do
here.
I under-
Listen, Jake,
I understand
I
you
appreciate the
correctly?
call, man, and thank you so much for
Do I un-
calling in and
do
just
I understand you
regaling us with your
correctly?
tales of choking down your breakfast. You're going to tell me that okay, hey, RJ,
Can I
you
ask
can
my
you can just
question
cut
too?
this guy. He's just doing this to
Can
waste
I ask
time.
my
This is what
question?
these individuals
What's
do.
the matter, Chris?
Yeah. Thanks, bud. Have a great rest of your day. No, we're not Nazis. No, that's not what happened. This individual impeded and obstructed. I have no issue with him being there to protest. I have no issue with him being there with a firearm at a protest. But when you put yourself between the job that needs to get done and ICE agents, yeah, bad things are going to happen. And that's what happened with Renee Nicole Good, and that's what happened over the weekend with Alex Preddy. What you're not hearing from our friend that just called in is, why was it that an ICE agent had their finger bit off over the weekend, and we're not hearing anything about that? You know, the shooting is gonna dominate the news. The shooting that happened over the weekend in Minnesota. But what they're not going to tell you is how the men and women of ICE had to withstand hurling and dangerous objects being kicked in their direction. They had to deal with violent and physical assaults, including the biting of a fingertip. A fingertip was removed. An ICE agent's fingertip was bit off over the weekend. They were tackled. They were punched. They've been rammed and assaulted with vehicles. They have been issued explicit death threats nonstop. They have aggressively had to deal with obstruction and impeding by these leftists. There's been so many attempted assaults on not just law enforcement officers, but their vehicles. The efforts to vandalize and destroy these vehicles. The absolute insanity at a hotel where these ICE agents are staying. It's like, oh, you guys ever think that maybe you're the Nazis? It's like, no, actually, I don't think that at all. I think that what these ICE agents are having to deal with in Minnesota is above and beyond anything we've ever seen. And that context needs to be in these conversations. So when some lunatic leftist gets between an ICE agent and the job that they need to do, and in the midst of that, a tussle ensues, and then there's a firearm that has to be removed by an ICE agent, and then this individual appears to be reaching for his waistband. Like, what do you expect these individuals to think? What do you expect? Yes, the shooting is going to dominate the news. Oh, did you guys think you might be the Nazis? No, I didn't. Actually, did you ever think that maybe you guys are the bad guys when you see what's being done to ICE agents?
Of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off.
His finger was bitten off. Oh, gee whiz. You guys ever think that you guys might be the Nazis? No, actually.
Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene. And once again, I want to remind everybody that this situation and this tragedy did not have to happen.
It didn't. And if the leftists could give a little bit of space to the ICE agents, to the Customs and Border Patrol agents, none of this stuff would happen. We got Luke on line 1 in Belle Meade. What's up, Luke? How are you?
Defending Nazism in Germany was not on my bingo card of things
Oh my
you're going to
gosh,
reply with.
that's the same
Can I
guy.
ask my question? Can I ask my question now?
This guy. No, I really don't have any need to talk to you. I mean, here this
you need more.
RJ,
You need more
can cut this
listeners.
guy. What these seminar callers do is they record all this and then they use it for their own shows on YouTube. I'm out. I'm out on this guy. This guy is an absolute joke, and this is what he does. He doesn't want to answer any of the questions about what's going on and why they're in Minnesota. and it's because of the billions of dollars that were stolen underneath Governor Tim Walz's watch.
He's protected illegal criminals and protected them from being brought to justice, and even overseen a historic, unprecedented theft of American taxpayer dollars. Tens of billions of dollars were stolen under his watch, and he allowed it to happen, and in some instances may have even facilitated it.
Listen, I'm of the opinion that these leftists, especially at the high levels of the Minnesota government, love what's happening on the streets because it distracts from the fraud. It distracts from the crime. And this administration, they're not going to be slowed down, but they love these stories. They love it when a useful idiot leftist gets in the way of an ICE operation and tragically dies. The left will not let a crisis go to waste, and they'll use this to make themselves look even better than they think they already look. But they're not going to talk about the stuff that we see happening down at the street level. They just won't. An ICE agent had his finger bitten off by an agitator over the weekend.
One officer had his finger bitten clean off by an agitator yesterday. There are some pretty troubling photos of that online if anybody wants to look. Have you heard from any of the Democratic leadership in Minnesota about that? Tim Walz, Jacob Frey?
No, they haven't expressed any concern for injuries to our officers, and that's been going on for weeks. These are not just agitators anymore, they're violent protests. In fact, the state and the city of Minneapolis abandoned this area in downtown Minneapolis because they couldn't control the situation by the amount of people that have come in just trying to disrupt and impede law enforcement operations. And, you know, frankly, this didn't turn violent until we uncovered the fraud in Minneapolis. We were there, ICE and CBP have been there and operating for years in Minneapolis. We saw the violence start to happen when the fraud became uncovered of the billions of dollars that was stolen from American taxpayers under the leadership of Governor Walz. And
that's a big important point. This violence didn't start until the fraud got exposed. And the leadership in Minnesota are still very, very excited about all the violence distracting all of the mainstream media and the American public away from the fraud. We're going to continue to cover the fraud here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're also going to continue covering this shooting. There was a lot of reaction over the weekend from many officials in and out of Minnesota. Mayor Jacob Frey weighing in. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino weighing in as well. We'll bring you all that audio on the way. There's a lot to get to. Only a little bit of time. You're welcome to join the show. 615-737-9986. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
what Nashville Electric has to say about those power outages that everyone is experiencing right now, and why a Murfreesboro man has just been indicted by a grand jury. Those stories at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
On Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch the show, YouTube and Rumble. My wife was very upset that everybody said that this is a fake plant behind me in the home studio. It's a real plant. We water it all the time. We love our real plants. You'll have to be watching us on YouTube or Rumble to see what I'm talking about. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're there. Tim Waltz, he's not going to let any of this stuff go. Don't worry. And he's already formulating a list. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going full Santa Claus, except he is going to be charging federal agents when they're enforcing the law and defending themselves. He's making that list.
Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
Oh, okay. You know, they could just let the ICE agents in the jails, right? Everybody's aware of this, right? If they just let the ICE agents in the jails, none of this would be an issue. There would be no operations in the streets. There would be no incidents with people like Renee Nicole Good or Alex Preddy. This stuff wouldn't happen. It is a dereliction of duty by the Minnesota officials, the Minnesota elite, not allowing ICE and Customs and Border Patrol into these prisons. But they're going to still yell. They're going to continue. They're going to continue pointing the finger, and we're going to see that the more the day goes on. Barack Obama has weighed in on the shooting that we saw over the weekend of Alex Preddy, blaming Donald Trump, urging for more protests, saying every American should support and draw inspiration from the wave of peaceful protests in Minneapolis, Obama wrote. The wave of peaceful protests. He continued by saying, the killing of Alex Preddy is a heartbreaking tragedy. It should also be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, that many of our core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. Federal law enforcement and immigration agents have a tough job, but Americans expect them to carry out their duties in a lawful, accountable way and to work with, rather than against, state and local officials to ensure public safety. That's not what we're seeing in Minnesota. In fact, we're seeing the exact opposite. What we're actually seeing is a state government that refuses to cooperate with the federal government and a weird, small-scale civil war. That's what we're seeing in Minnesota. And we're seeing useful idiot leftists put themselves in harm's way when they shouldn't be doing that at all. It's heartbreaking that Renee Nicole Good was killed, and now her children don't have a mother. It's heartbreaking that Alex Preddy had to be shot. But none of this stuff would have happened had they let ICE do their damn job. A lot more to talk about, a lot to get to, a little bit of time. Hang out with us. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The number of people who have no electric power to their homes has now risen in the Nashville area. Nashville Electric Service reporting the most outages now at 175,000. Officials had warned that more trees heavy with ice could come down, taking electric wires with them. 97 utility poles have come down so far. NES's COO, his name is Brent Baker, told WSMV4 that prolonged outages are expected throughout the service area this entire week. The death toll from the massive winter storm that's moved now onto the Northeast is now at 18. 3 people have died in Tennessee, all of them in the western portion of the state. In Austin, Texas, a teenage girl was killed in a sledding accident. Her sled was being pulled by a car driven by a teenage boy. That sled ended up striking a tree. In Arkansas, a 17-year-old boy died after he was being pulled by an ATV in the snow, and it struck a tree as well. 3 people in one county in Pennsylvania died while shoveling snow. They range in age from 60 to 84 years old. The traffic control tower is fully staffed once again, and BNA has been reopened, but it'll take a while to work through all the cancellations. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy telling CNBC this morning that air travel should be back to normal by Wednesday. Up to 20,000 flights were canceled over the weekend due to the winter storm. That's the most flights ever canceled at one time. As for today, nearly 4,000 flights are still canceled. So if you're scheduled to fly, the suggestion is to call the airline before heading out to make sure that your flight is still on. Chances for another government shutdown Friday are growing. Senate Democrats say they won't vote to fund the government if it includes appropriations for the Department of Homeland Security. But Senate Republicans say that's not going to happen. Government funding expires Friday at midnight. And a Murfreesboro man's been indicted by a Rutherford County grand jury in a scheme that embezzled nearly $200,000 from a nonprofit organization. 57-year-old David Ross is accused of making unauthorized payments to 2 personal credit cards and fraudulent purchases from that nonprofit's bank accounts totaling nearly $200,000. Ross had been a part-time employee at the nonprofit. That's the latest news. Weather is up ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
.99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. I'm doing the show today from the home studio, live from the borough. We're at Casa de Hand. I don't have a cool name like Murphilago. We're working on it. we're working on the hand manner. I don't know. It doesn't flow. It doesn't flow the same. But we're working on a cool name, and I appreciate you guys joining us here. We got a lot of people over there on the YouTube stream. Shout out to our friends on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. And I'm paying attention to the chat. I'm paying attention to the chat, and I'm paying attention to the text messages. And one thing that I keep seeing is, Alex Preddy, that's no different than Kyle Rittenhouse. And it's like, no, these things are very different. Kyle Rittenhouse went to the Summer of Love protests to protect private property. That's why he was armed. Alex Preddy was armed for, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what his reasoning was. All I know is that he found himself in between some ICE agents and business that they were handling, and he got himself shot for it. I've been texting with a few people. My friend Dave, our favorite Hebrew, he's of the opinion, and some of the videos seem to lean this way as well, that that SIG went off on its own, that it went off by itself, and the agents reacted, and they panicked a bit. There's other slowed down video that shows what looks like Alex Preddy going for his waistband before the shots rang out. Maybe it's a mix of both. I'm not sure. We're going to wait and see how the investigation shakes out. But I can tell you the big difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and Alex Preddy was that, well, Kyle Rittenhouse was going there to defend private property. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't going there to start fights or yell and scream at or protest anything. It's a huge difference. I got another text here where I had who was it? So the Jan 6 rioters, this is 7882 texted in. So the Jan 6 rioters were patriots, and yet these folks in Minneapolis are domestic terrorists. Right. They murdered that man with 6 to 8 shots in the effing back, and you sit there snugly and say that he had it coming. What is wrong with you people? I said, well, that's just on the Jan 6ers versus the anti-ICE obstructionists. The Jan 6ers were mad over a stolen election, and they took those grievances and went right to Congress. Okay? What are the leftists mad about again? Is it that they want to keep the illegal aliens, the gang members, the criminals, the rapists, the child sex offenders, they want to keep them in their neighborhood? And you want me to somehow say that these two things are the same? These two things are not the same. They're not the same at all. And everybody knows it, up to and including the leftists in the YouTube chat. Nobody's mad that he went there to protest. And at least on my show, nobody's even mad that he went there with a firearm. His First Amendment, his Second Amendment, that's all fine and well. The issue came when he started impeding and obstructing. The issue happened when Alex Preddy put himself between the federal agents and the business that they were trying to handle. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino on the shooting. He went on CNN to discuss yesterday, and this is Bavino's take.
I believe that all citizens of the United States have those First and Fourth Amendment rights as long as they do so peacefully and don't delay, obstruct, or assault anyone in doing that. And that's the issue here, because he was not peacefully doing anything.
No, he was getting himself completely in the mix, doing exactly what his mom and dad told him not to do, interfering with federal agents, and he played stupid games and he won stupid prizes. I'm not gleeful that the man was shot and killed. I'd rather it have not happened at all. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Border Patrol or the ICE agents are at fault, because I don't believe that they were. The situation's so tense and so dangerous. What do you expect? And still, we're getting elected leadership from the state of Minnesota pushing that rhetoric, pushing the leftist spin in the narrative that the agents are the ones that are evil. This is Mayor Frey yesterday.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? How many more lives need to be lost before this administration realizes that a political and partisan narrative is not as important as American values. How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city? As you'll hear from Director Sayer in just a second, we have seen these kinds of operations in other places, in other countries, but not here in America.
So he doesn't mention the fact that Alex Preddy was armed at all. He doesn't mention the fact that he was impeding and obstructing. He says, how many more Americans need to die before ICE leaves the city? I would just flip it back on you, sir. How many more Americans need to die before you let ICE agents inside these prisons and jails and stop allowing these operations to take place on the streets? These ICE agents don't want to be out on these streets. Are you kidding me? The ICE agents would much rather pick up a convicted criminal, a gang member, a rapist, a murderer, a child rapist. They'd much rather pick them up from the safety of a prison cell. But Minnesota officials won't allow that to happen. How many more Americans need to die before Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey say, you know what, we should actually let you guys into the jails? How many more? Are you so heartless that you're just going to continue to let Americans die on the streets? I mean, like, this is the game that they're playing. Huge joke. Scott Bessent was also on all the Talking Head shows over the weekend. He found his way onto ABC this week, and they did. They tried to goad him into attacking ICE. And Scott Bessent didn't take the bait at all. They asked him what's going on in Minnesota, and Scott Bessent reminds them how dangerous Minnesota is, especially for conservatives. And Scott Bessent said, hey, you guys realize that Governor Walz wouldn't even get me security the other week when I came to Minnesota. What do you think he's doing for these ICE agents?
Jonathan, it's a tragedy when anyone dies, but I can tell you the situation on the ground there is being stirred up by Governor Walz. I was out there 2 weeks ago. Governor Walz declined to provide a security detail for me to go into the Minnesota Capitol with the state police. So he is fomenting chaos because there is substantial waste, fraud, and abuse. My job as Treasury Secretary is to investigate that. And I think that this chaos that's going out there, and again, I am sorry that this gentleman is dead, but he did bring a 9mm semi-automatic weapon with 2 cartridges to what was supposed to be a peaceful protest. I think that there are a lot of paid agitators who are ginning things up, and the governor has not done a good job at tamping this down. Yeah.
He's absolutely right on the governor not doing a good job on tamping it down. I'm really not upset that the guy brought a firearm to the protest. I'm not. I think it's a bit hypocritical when we start attacking him over having a firearm. The issue isn't the Second Amendment. The issue isn't even the First Amendment. The issue is that he got himself in between the business that needed to be done and the agents doing it, and he began to impede and obstruct. That's when it becomes dicey. It wasn't dicey before then. You can shout, you can blow your whistle, you can yell. That's fine. He put himself in the middle of a situation that was rapidly escalating out of control. This is in the middle of a situation where agents had already been assaulted that day. One agent had his finger bitten off. The context of the day matters. And here comes this lunatic leftist who puts himself in the middle of it and has a firearm on him. They remove the firearm from him. He looks like he's reaching for his waistband. He's shot. I mean, that sucks. But it's a tragedy of his own making. Tim Walz, however, demands that the Trump administration pull out of Minnesota. That's what they need to do.
Minnesota and our local law enforcement, as you have seen, have done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again, remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. But in contrast to that, on these frozen streets, what you witnessed yesterday was the best of Minnesotans, peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. And I attended in the church basement hundreds of Minnesotans from all faith packing care packages for families that have been ripped apart.
Families that have been ripped apart. You mean criminals that have been taken into custody? Is that what you mean? I think that's what he means. So he tells us, once again, the Trump administration needs to withdraw from Minnesota because we're seeing deadly violence from agents again and again and again. Could it have anything to do with the fact that you keep labeling them Nazis and the Gestapo? Nothing? Could it have anything to do with, Governor Walz, the fact that you said we're at war with the federal government? Perhaps. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Bobby in Madison on line 2. What's up, Bobby? Welcome to the show. Yo, Bobby, what's up? All right, we'll put Bobby back on hold. We'll go to Mike on line 1. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, how you doing, Chris? Hey, man, look like we're back again. Another shooting. And you know something? Here's the sad part about it, Chris. It won't be the last. Cause like you said earlier, Chris, Mr. Purdy, he went to the event. First of all, let's just be honest about this situation. He went there with a gun. Yeah, he has the Second Amendment right, but he was supposed to be going there to peacefully protest. His parents told him that. You said that. If you're going to an event with a handgun and all the magazines that they said he had with him, he wasn't going there looking for no peace, as far as I'm concerned. Second of all, the man was standing in the street when the police came upon him. He had a telephone, was blocking the traffic, and was causing obstruction. And then he seen the woman. They were trying to arrest the woman or get her off the road. He decided to interfere with that. Notice I said the word interfere. Did you see the video? Ain't that what he did when he got involved? Was that any of his business to get involved with that situation with the woman? That was none of his business. He decided to intervene in that. That's when the ICE agents put their attentions on him, and that's when he was thrown to the ground. And officer saw that he had a handgun.
Ken Weaver, can you hear me? Ken Weaver.
Oh, hello, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the tussle ensued. You can clearly see that the officer, took the handgun off of him. What happened after that, I don't know. But here's how it goes, Chris. Like you have to listen to your parents the same way that woman that got killed. Her father-in-law did the same thing. He told her to stay away from this type of stuff. Stay away from the protests and the violent protesters. It's none of your business. And they decided to get involved anyway. Now you got 2 American deaths, and it was brought on, like I said before, by their own stupidity, because they shouldn't have been interfering with government. Let me ask you a question, Chris. You want to know why you didn't get shot on Saturday in Minnesota? Because guess what? You was in Nashville. You was at your home, out of your own business. That's why you didn't get shot on Saturday. Unlike Mr. Purdy, he decided to go to an event that he had no business being at, and in the result, he lost his life. It's a damn shame, but he brung it on himself, and I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I thank you for calling in, Mike. Appreciate it. 615-737-9986. The only thing I would add is that Mr. Preddy, Alex Preddy, the individual that was shot over the weekend, his family should be pointing the finger at the radical leftists, the Democrat leadership, and the rhetoric that has been spewed by them that whipped him up into a frenzy to the point where he feels like he needs to go down to this protest with a firearm. Greg Bovino was talking about that rhetoric that we're seeing used to vilify law enforcement officers over the weekend.
When politicians, community leaders, and some journalists engage in that heated rhetoric we keep talking about, when they make the choice to vilify law enforcement, calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday. And those actions and choices can obviously have tragic consequences.
And that's what we saw over the weekend in Minnesota. Tragic consequences to dumb decisions. I do. I feel for the guy's family. I'll be praying for them. I pray for these ICE agents. I hope that we see no more violence on the streets of Minnesota. However, until these Democrat leaders in the state of Minnesota get on board with the Trump administration, stop vilifying them, stop demonizing them, I don't know if we're going to see that kind of peace that we all hope and pray for. A lot more to cover. We'll take more of your phone calls on the way. 615-737-9986. You're also welcome to join in the conversation. We are we're monitoring the chat over there in YouTube. It's always unhinged. It's always worth an opportunity to drop in and let people know what you're thinking. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're there. We'll be back in moments. It's 10:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Plumbing, heating, and cooling. If your HVAC is not standing up to these cold temperatures, you need to call my guys over at Busy Bee today. Right now on HVAC, you can get 0% financing for 18 months and a complimentary UV light with any new system install, plus a free 5-year labor upgrade. That's a $750 value. If you're going through the weekend, you're like, man, this system is not holding up, today is the day to call Busy Bee. Maybe you're like, actually, the system's going well, but I do got some plumbing needs. Same 0% financing on the plumbing, plus a free 50-gallon water heater with select repipes, or $600 off if that doesn't apply. You've spent a couple days in the house now. Is the indoor air quality where you need it to be? If not, take 15% off UV lights when you book a premium duct cleaning from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And don't forget, all month long, it's buy one Beehive Club membership, get one Beehive Club membership for free for a friend. Call my guys today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Are you the magic people? We're here to make your junk disappear, ma'am. You have a good pointing finger, ma'am.
How much time we got?
Why some folks can expect their power to be out all week, and librarian by day, domestic terrorist by night. A West Virginia woman is facing charges today. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere, iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch the show. We are up and running on SuperTalk TV, YouTube, and Rumble are the big ones, but also Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. 615-737-9986 is the number if you want to join the show. Jump in on the text line. We got Brian on line 1. Brian is a police officer. Would love to get your take on what you're seeing in Minnesota over the weekend. What's up, Brian?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, man. What do you think when you see what's going on in Minnesota?
So let me preface this by saying from the start, I am now a third-generation police officer. I'm currently a sergeant here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My father was a lieutenant in Miami for a very long time, retired in 1992. He was a part of the Miami riots. I don't know if some of these listeners are old enough to remember that. So after this had happened, I had spoken to him because we always have conversations about this, and we both agree. First off, what was the gentleman's name that passed? Was it Alex? Was that his name?
Yep, Alex Preddy.
I don't know what his name is. He was in the wrong for interacting the way he did, but both of us think that the response was irresponsible, and both of us, as well as a few other people we've spoken with that are in the force, think that the agents on the scene were not trained at all, or poorly, because one thing that we do specifically, this is one of the first things you learn, is when you are apprehending a suspect, when you see a weapon, you never yell gun. Gun is not what you yell as a police officer, ever. The first, you have keywords within your force that you yell, and once you take the weapon from someone, you have a word that you yell that no one is yelling. So for Fort Lauderdale, is a perfect example. If you apprehend a weapon from a suspect, we yell, oddly enough, balloon, as loud as we can, as fast as we can, because no one is yelling balloon in a situation like that.
Yeah,
so it allows
makes
every
sense.
officer that's in the vicinity to know we have the weapon. The weapon is off of him. We have the weapon. You can see in the videos, it looks like nothing was said. The weapon was grabbed and he left. He was trying to get the weapon out of there, which is the right thing to do. You want to get the weapon away as quickly as possible, so he can't reach for it, or it may be a misfire, something like that. But it is clear that there was no communication that I've got the weapon, and it's supposed to be as you reach for it and as you grab it, you let everyone know that you're going for it, so they know as soon as you've got it, okay, the tension is a lot less. Because in this instance, obviously tension's going to be high. I can't speak for them. I've not been in these ICE situations, but being bombarded every day and ridiculed and screamed at and told your family needs to be offed and all that stuff, it's
Yep.
even on your skin. You're a human being. It doesn't matter how much of a robot you've been trained to be. You are a human. But
And
it is very clear from
earlier that
observation
day, an ICE agent's finger was bitten off. So I mean, to
I
say
saw
it's
that too.
tense on the ground is a little bit of an understatement.
Yes, but yes, it's clear to us. Like I said, I'll discuss this with my father. They need, in my personal opinion, ICE needs to all be brought back for a 2-3 week training period if they're going to be going into a city like this, because the incidences we're seeing would have most of these suspended. The gentleman that pushed the woman before he stepped in would be suspended currently on any regular police force. The incidents from Alex when he stepped in between the woman, legally, we're not allowed to interfere with Alex when he does that. We're not allowed to as police officers. I don't know, on a federal level, maybe you can, but if someone steps in between, we do not mace. We're not allowed to mace in that instance because they pose no threat to us stepping in between. There was no hands placed on us, so we cannot respond violently ourselves. Now,
yeah, I mean, I think that would be a bit of a different situation with the ICE operations, though. Would it not? When everybody's
it's very possible.
Now, what do you make?
That's why I talked to my father though, because he dealt with the riots in Miami. He said the same thing. Unless somebody physically touches you, you cannot touch them. But what were you going to ask? I'm sorry.
What do you make of the theories that the SIG went off on its own? Did you see anything in the video that made you believe that might be the case?
No. Personally, no. What I think the first gunshot that you hear is the one that's in the back of the head. The officer, if you see the officer, the first officer that shoots, if you see the one that is directly behind him that sees the weapon, when he looks down before the officer takes it, he sees the gun. He pulls his weapon out of his holster and points it to the suspect. He starts walking around, and he, in my opinion, shoots the first shot, and then you see the second shot that's on film, which is also why it sounds like a different gun, because he has all the ICE agents don't have the same guns. You can see when he holds it up, he's got a different gun than the officer that is on video shooting straight down. There was an officer that was behind him. If you watch the film from I think she was wearing a jacket or something, the lady from the side, there is an officer that looked down while the waistband is having the weapon removed, and you could see he looked down and seized the gun. Now, he seized the gun because he's panicked, and that's why he pulls his gun, because he sees a gun. But I think he was the first shot, and I think that, and sadly, will come out that it was the gentleman that saw the gun looking straight down that fired the first shot, and then the other gentleman heard a gunshot, and then he unloaded because he heard that gunshot. But I think it was just the other agent seeing the weapon and panicking because everything was happening so fast. I think.
Yeah.
That's what
Hey,
happened.
man. Listen, interesting take. I appreciate you calling in with your insight and your expertise. It's still going to be a cold day in hell before I find myself demonizing these ICE agents or saying that they were at fault here.
I mean, let me make sure that's very clear. I'm not demonizing them. This is a hell of a situation. It's very stressful. It's milliseconds to respond. We're all human. Things happen. There's no
100%.
villainizing anyone in this instance. I'm just saying, for this instance, if you could go step by step, scene by scene, and we all lived in a social media world where everything was slow motion, then 1,000% they should be villainized. But in a moment that is that fast, that quick, that unpredictable, I am villainizing no one here. It is an unfortunate situation that we get to see a millisecond by millisecond breakdown and able to see this was done incorrectly. But
So
when
let
you're
me,
put
let
in
me
that
ask you.
situation,
Let me ask you this, and it is. I mean,
Yes, sir.
hindsight's 20/20, right? So, I've tweeted out a slowed down version of the video, frame by frame, on my X account at Chris Hand on Air, where it looks like Alex Preddy, the individual that was shot and killed, is moving towards his waistband. Did you see that in your review of the video?
Yes, and if you have it with the audio on, listen closely, I think that's after the first shot hits in the back of the head. I think that is from the first officer shooting him, and his body, your body response when you get shot in the back of the head is your arms go limp, your weight goes forward, and your arms go back. I'm telling you, sadly, from someone that has done that to a suspect. Your body goes limp forward, your arms go back because your arms are the light of things, so they don't move fast as forward. The first gunshot happens as he's reaching that still shot. I think it's the first officer shooting in the back of the head, sadly.
Interesting.
That's what
hey,
that one
man,
is, because the body is leaning forward.
We're up
Personally,
against it,
that-
but I appreciate the call, Brian, and I do. I really appreciate
God
your
bless.
insight.
I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you all stay safe out there.
Likewise, man. Take care. 10:33. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The snow may have ended, but weather officials are warning that temperatures won't rise above freezing all this week. In the meantime, roughly 200,000 electric customers remain without power in Middle Tennessee. Nashville Electric Service warning that the outages may continue through the week. Stick around, the full forecast still to come here. In Jackson County, West Virginia, a librarian at a public library has been arrested after postings on social media in which she appears to call for someone to assassinate President Trump and others within the Trump administration. She's been charged with one count of making terroristic threats. Happening in Minneapolis this morning, more confrontations between ICE agents and leftist agitators. One of them tried picking up a flashbang and throwing it back at federal agents, but it blew up before the woman could let it go. Video online shows part of her hand may have been lost. And the Justice Department has charged 31 more people in a scam at ATM machines in the U.S. Many of those charged are members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. More than 50 people charged so far in this case. The accused would reportedly deploy malware that commands the ATM to force withdrawals of cash. That is the latest news. Stick around for that forecast. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Paul Winkler. You've heard me talk about Paul Winkler for years, and there's a reason. When it comes to investing, Paul Winkler Inc., these guys do things differently. They've got 10 offices across Middle Tennessee and they don't work on commissions. This is huge. They don't work on commissions. This week, Paul's doing something I really like. It's called Back to Basics Week. It's for everyone, no matter your background, your experience, or how much money you're investing. You can learn something through this. They're going to walk through the questions most people should ask, but usually don't, like the real difference between stocks and bonds, why financial experts so often disagree, how ETFs are actually different from mutual funds. They'll talk about diversification, how many stocks it really takes, and they break down things like gold, CDs, Bitcoin, real estate, what's an investment, what isn't. Paul's also going to explain the two main investing philosophy advisors use, how to know which one your advisor's following, the evidence behind each approach, and what choosing the wrong side could cost you. They'll even help you tackle the big one, Roth versus pre-tax for retirement, what actually makes sense for you. And if you think you're paying more in fees than you should, well, you probably are. Paul shows you what's hiding beneath the surface. If you want clarity, confidence, and a plan that actually makes sense, go to paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I talk about these guys all the time. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, they are the absolute best. And they're the only office in Tennessee with a brand new machine called the HydroWave. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging disc, knee pain, numbness in your arms or legs, then you need to check out this new device at the Wellness Institute called the HydroWave. It's going to stimulate stem cells for real cellular healing. No surgery, no needles, no injections. You pair this with the non-surgical spinal and knee decompression, it's about as advanced as it gets. These guys are using anti-gravity machines, robotic lasers, and they're going to actually take the time to review your MRI, explain what's happening, and how to fix it. You see, that is key. You can start a pain-free life in 2026. It is 100% possible with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Give them a call today. They're going to take good care of you. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or find them online, painisbad.com. Okay, I had wellness. And 40 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We are doing the show today from the borough. I am in the home studio. The kids haven't made much noise. I think that they're just freezing their fingertips off outside, but that's okay. That's okay. We're here today because of the just incredible amounts of ice and just chaos on the roads out there. I hope that you don't have to go anywhere. If you do, take it slow. We got a lot of info, information, entertainment for you on the way, and we appreciate all of you guys that are out there doing the work that is so needed in Middle Tennessee right now. Whether you're working those power lines, plowing those roads, we salute you and we appreciate you. The weather was chaotic over the weekend, to say the least. Anywhere from a half an inch of ice to an inch of ice on all the tree limbs. Chaotic. As we continue to dig out in Middle Tennessee, we'll have the latest for you here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We have been discussing what happened over the weekend in Minnesota. Different ice, same kind of chaos. We saw another leftist protester shot and killed. This time it was Alex Preddy. Alex decided to show up to a protest with a 9mm handgun, 2 extra magazines. He was very peaceful. They say he was one of the most peaceful protesters out there. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't show up to a protest with a gun. I'm not going to say that you should show up to a protest with a gun. I think a lot of the conservatives that are making this about the gun are missing the point. This is really about the rhetoric. It had nothing to do with the First Amendment, nothing to do with the Second Amendment, everything to do with impeding and obstructing. That's the key. That's the context of what we're seeing. And I also think it's important to point out that these ICE agents are having a bit of a headache when it comes to these paid protesters and paid agitators. We understand how much money is being thrown around and how the chaos is benefiting the left in Minnesota. At the very least, it's taking the eyes off the fraud, and that benefits these leftist lunatics. Byron Donalds was talking about the amount of paid agitators that are in and around Minnesota and how that is leading to what we're seeing on the ground here.
Well, first of all, look, let's be clear. Nobody wants to see any American lose their life like this. Nobody wants to see that. But we also have to be honest about what's happening in Minneapolis. You have paid agitators. You have a coordinated protesting operation going on in Minneapolis for the sole purpose of doxing ICE officers, impeding ICE officers, stopping them from following and executing federal law. My Democratic colleagues don't care about federal law because when Joe Biden was president of the United States, they allowed him to bastardize asylum claims, basically allow more than 10 million people into the country illegally and put them in court hearings, which won't occur for 7 to 10 years. And if you talk to Border Patrol agents, these people don't even show up. These illegal aliens don't even show up for the first hearing. About 5% show up for the hearings. So this is a sham on the American people. So when President Trump, who by the way won a political mandate to deport criminal illegal aliens, when he goes to execute that mandate on behalf of the American people, what do you see? You see Democrat leadership who are using terrible language about these ICE officers in the beginning, calling them Gestapo, calling them the SS, to raise emotions, to raise outrage, and then you have these paid-for, astroturfed front group operations happening in the city of Minneapolis. That has created a powder keg. That powder keg was not created by following federal law. It was followed by Democrat leadership and, quite frankly, Democrat billionaires who want to do one thing, and that's stop Donald Trump.
This issue was created by Democrats, funded by Democrats. Democrat leadership is looking the other way. The only thing that Democrat leadership can say today is Orange Man bad. Byron Donalds is so incredibly on point. The riots that we're seeing in Minnesota are paid and they're organized. Post-shooting at the riot in Minneapolis, there were just dozens upon dozens of people showing up. Almost like they got a message. Almost like the group chat alerted them to what was going on.
To you?
It definitely does feel organized to me, and I think you can tell these people are well connected. They are in communication with each other, and they are giving them instructions. This happened all so quickly. People knew where to go, and they are taking commands. This is an organized movement here. There's communication, there's food, there's notices, there's notifications. They got out here in a hurry, and they outnumber this police force probably by about 10 to 1 at this point.
Outnumbering the police by 10 to 1, showing up to the scene of the shooting like they all received a message. How could this have happened? Well, maybe it was because they all received a message. Maybe it's because that's how dangerous Minnesota is. Maybe that's how organized they are. In fact, we learned a lot about the organization inside these big blue cities like Minneapolis over the weekend. Cam Higbee did an incredible amount of citizen journalism, which I wish that we could see some kind of level of journalism like this from any of the mainstream media outlets. Where's CBS? Where's ABC? Where's NBC? Where are the hungry young reporters working at these news organizations? Because you'd imagine that some of them, one of them, any of them by accident, would just want to do a little bit of digging and come up with a story like this, yet they don't, and we're left to get it from independent journalists. And then the mainstream media will say, oh, they're alt-right YouTubers. And it's like, well, you guys could have done the work. And an independent journalist is doing the work. Cam Higbee infiltrated signal group chats in Minneapolis over the weekend by using anti-ICE activists, being used by anti-ICE activists to track federal immigration agents and obstruct their operations across the street. Higbee published all of this on his X account, detailing the structure of the groups, which he said operate daily and are organized to monitor, identify, and interfere with ICE activity. So when you see all of these protesters showing up and the immediate aftermath of Alex Preddy being shot and killed by ICE agents, it's because the message got sent out. Cam Higbee on X saying, I've been undercover inside these groups for days. You'll notice emojis next to people's names. Here's a key for what emojis mean. The highlighted positions are the most crucial. Most are self-explanatory. Mobile patrols spend their entire shift searching for suspicious vehicles. When they find one, they send it to a group so that plate checkers can compare with their database to see if it's a known federal vehicle or if the patrol can make the confirmation so that way the database can be updated. Dispatch runs a maxed out call all day telling protesters where ICE has been spotted and how they can best be impeded. So when they randomly show up and it feels so coordinated, it's because it wasn't random and it is coordinated. When they immediately go to the site of the shooting, it's because they were dispatched to the site of the shooting. Cam Higbee breaking it all down. Post Millennial has the story. Higbee said each area of the city operates its own group chat with districts divided into patrol zones that guide activists on where to operate. He posted screenshots of all of this. You can find it on X at Cam Higbee, and I'll retweet it on my personal account as well at Chris Hand on Air. So it's easy for you guys to find this information and do your own dig on this. But what is being exposed shouldn't shock any of us. We kind of already had an idea that this is how it was operating. But now we got the receipts. Cam Higbee saying, here's a screenshot of the active dispatch call. It's always active, as well as a shift change. You can see folks are changing their emojis, clocking in and out. I'll also attach a video below actually tracking the vehicle I was claiming that we were confirmed ICE. They're constantly misidentifying vehicles. Pay attention to the emojis tagged on plate checks, he wrote. He also released a recording that said he said shows protesters following a vehicle that was being labeled ICE, with group members instructing commuters, a term that refers to ICE chasers, to follow the vehicle. Each day, the activists create a new group chat for each zone, with previous chats being routinely deleted to avoid detection. The chat hits the maximum capacity of 1,000 people by midday each day. Higbee further explained that these quasi-police forces use a system called SALUTE, which stands for Size of Federal Units, Activity, Locations, Uniforms, Times, and Locations. They instruct ICE chasers to follow and confront agents using this system to known locations. They instruct ICE chasers to follow and confront agents. Alex Preddy was just a peaceful protester. You know, stop asking questions. None of this is organized. It's all organic. Stop asking questions. If anybody could do any real journalism, this thing would have been cracked open a long time ago. Yet what we're left to is independent journalists doing it on their own. Shout out to Cam Higbee with this report on what we're seeing in Signal. Higbee also revealed that activists have a home base for their operations, but he has not been able to identify where it is located. He also described a broader support network connected to the operation, including a mutual aid group for educators. The protesters use a mutual aid system. I tried to join that mutual aid for Bloomington. An admin told me that it was a vetted chat for teachers and that I'd need to describe my relationship at a school and give my real name. I couldn't do that, so I never made it in. Why are teachers aiding in this effort? The more you learn about the operations in and around the protests in Minnesota, the more you're shocked about the operations in and around the protests in Minnesota, or not shocked. I think a lot of us knew that this was going on. But you're seeing paid and organized protesters just going everywhere inside the state of Minnesota. And they want to tell you that Trump and his administration are the ones that are causing all the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. Yeah, miss me with that. On the way, what happened to James O'Keefe in Minnesota over the weekend? Yeah, James O'Keefe was actually just seconds away from where that shooting took place, and he got himself an alarming text message from some of these peaceful protesters in Minneapolis. We'll talk about that when we get back as well. A lot to cover, a little bit of time, 10:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, you still left me on the YouTube chat, on the YouTube stream.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Don't get lulled into believing the IRS.
It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever.
Ken, can you hear me?
So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today, and let me get between you and the IRS.
I think we're in good shape.
I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, 100%
Mike, I
on
appreciate
fighting the
time out
IRS.
for the help.
Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in Nashville. Call 615-733-8168. Visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
People have new windows but don't want to pay a fortune for them. Well, during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 Windows free sale, you could also get 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so schedule your free estimate right now. WindowNation.com.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Oh, let's go!
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help
And
train
Brother
and
Ken, are you gonna
strengthen
be
your
taking over
immune
from here?
response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19.
All right,
Ask
I'm
your
gonna have to
doctor
move
or
your slider up and
pharmacist
down
which vaccines you need.
we got a
Book
funky
in
way to get
minutes
you
at
in. We've got you.
vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes?
We've got
Well, you
news
can
after
start
this.
today
Your
and
mic's gonna
file
be
for
hot.
free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th and you'll pay $0. Start filing for free today. Offer only for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Walmart or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer grocery store, or Wegmans.
Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It is 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Looking forward to the headlines with Mr. Weaver on the way. We were talking about Cam Higbee and his reporting on the Signal chats. Higbee has released videos, screenshots, and documents, including what he called a watered-down OPSEC version of a training manual for these patrols, showing these groups' operations inside Minnesota, how they are impeding, obstructing, and tracking ICE agents throughout the state. And now there's some names that have been implicated. The strongest, most repeated names are tied to Minnesota Democrats, and they're in and around Governor Walz's orbit, including Amanda Kohler. She is a former campaign strategist advisor for Tim Walz. She's the most directly and consistently identified as an admin, organizer, leader of at least one of these key signal groups, the Minnesota Ice Watch. Reports describe her coordinating protests, alerts, and anti-ICE efforts. There's also been some reports that Peggy Flanagan, the Minnesota lieutenant governor, was a moderator or admin in one of these signal groups that are tracking and monitoring ICE. However, even Cam Higbee himself posted a clarification saying that he has significant evidence that it's her, but not 100% confidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And he urged people to not overstate it if they lack certainty. One guy whose name keeps coming up is Minnesota State Rep Alex Falconer. He is facing renewed calls to be arrested because of his involvement in running some of these anti-ICE insurrectionist networks and signal chats to stock ICE. Libs of TikTok posting this clip.
A couple groups on the app Signal that we would love for you to join. Whether or not you want to be a part of the Resistance Network, I fully understand that you may not be comfortable with that, but you can help us in a lot of ways by sending an alert that if you see any suspicious vehicles, any traffic, if you know of anybody that is being targeted, that's being detained, we have resources immediately available that we can send to you, send to their family,
Right,
get them
ready.
legal help,
Coming up. Your
help
mic's
the
hot.
families if they need food, if people are afraid to leave their homes to get food. We're working with the food shelves to try to figure out a way to deliver groceries.
That is a Minnesota State rep. Again, his name is Alex Falconer, and now he's facing renewed calls to be arrested because he is, as you can hear in the video, talking about running these anti-ICE insurrectionist networks on Signal. This is another story that is going to be exploding as the days go on. Cam Higbee with an explosive report breaking down all of the things that are related to these Signal chats, these anti-ICE networks all over X. Worth a follow at Cam Higbee. You can find it on my page as well at Chris Hand on Air. Definitely worth a dig. And we'll be back with a little bit more on the way. Ken Weaver standing by with the headlines. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
WTN, Hendersonville, Nashville, from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
And the Mark Spain Real Estate WTN Newsroom. Information fueled, opinion driven.
This is Nashville's news and talk leader.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Start the year off stress-free and sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed
Hey, Ken,
offer.
did you
You're
go
gonna
back to
save
your good
time,
mic?
Make the most money and eliminate all that hassle. Hey, it's Dan Mandis. I am back in
All
the
right,
studio
you sound
with
like you were
Mark
right on
Mark
top of
Spain
it.
Real Estate. And Mark, what makes your guaranteed offer program different from
Maybe
the
a
other
little,
cash
like,
offer program?
you sound like you're
The
blowing
Mark
the
Spain
mic out.
Guaranteed Offer Program is different because we source from many different investors, providing you maximum dollar for the home sale. It also saves you
keep
time
talking.
and money because we actually source all the offers for you, and you can close in as little as 21 days, all cash, so you can move on to the next chapter of your life. Skip all the hassle of
I can
home
punch you up or
repairs,
down as
open
needed,
houses,
so-
and all the contingencies that go with a traditional home sale. The guaranteed offer is
Back
all
up a
cash,
little bit.
and it's a quick closing.
Thank you, Mark. You know, with over 14,000
good.
five-star reviews, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in America to sell your home quickly and for top dollar. Call them at
Yeah, you were blowing out the mic on the
855-299-SOLD,
newscast,
or go
so-
to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your
No,
home today.
you're all good.
It's
I mean,
markspain.com.
as far as the levels are concerned, you sound like you were in the right
I'm
area.
Brian
It just
from
sounded like the
1-800
mic was
Got
getting
Junk.
blown
Are
out.
you the magic people? We're here to make your junk disappear, ma'am. You have a good pointing finger, ma'am.
Look at that stuff go! I should have done this years ago. Wow, I never knew how big this house was.
We're happy to help. Hey, you there, listening to the radio. Give us a call at 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Middle Tennessee, winter is coming. Is your home ready? Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has big winter deals. 0% financing for 18 months, plus a free UV light and 5-year labor upgrade with any new HVAC install. Get 0% financing, a free 50-gallon water heater with select repipes or $600 off, $49 furnace inspection, and $250 off Smart Auto Whole Home Water Shutoff for freeze protection. Call 615-775-7833 or visit busybhvac.com.
From the Beacon Capital Management Weather Center.
A frigid next few days across Middle Tennessee. I'm WSMV4 First Alert Meteorologist Melanie Layden. High temperatures today struggle to even get to the 20s. We will see bright sunshine throughout the afternoon. Overnight, low temperatures fall down to the single digits. The wind chills early Tuesday morning will be brutal. We're going to be feeling more like negative 10 degrees outside, with high temperatures barely making it to freezing.
Information fueled. Opinion driven.
Government is not the solution to our problem.
The Chris Hand Show.
Government is the problem.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And you can listen to or watch us anywhere. It's Chris Hand. Welcome to the Chris Hand Show, brought to you by Better Water LLC. Available on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us as well on YouTube, Rumble, that's Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch as well. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. And if you're watching us on YouTube today, hit an extra like for the wonderful studio plant that my wife is so very proud of. It's a real plant. It's not fake. We water it all the time, despite what all of you guys say in the YouTube chat. You're hurting my wife's feelings. Stop saying mean things about the plant. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We're going to be talking about what's going on in Minnesota. We were talking about the Signal chats moments ago. Kash Patel was asked about this with Benny Johnson, and FBI Director Kash Patel reveals an investigation has been launched into the Signal chat groups like Cam Higbee has exposed.
Okay, so this is breaking news. So you and the FBI and perhaps other intelligence agencies are fully aware of this coordinated effort to attack federal law enforcement, to impede them and potentially insurrect. And so there is now an open investigation into these chats and into this coordinated network.
Yeah,
some of them are fleeing. Some of them are very scared now. You can see their chats. They're very, very worried now that they have been exposed.
Well, they should be. If they broke the law, you should be worried. It's that simple. If you didn't break the law, there's really nothing to worry about on that front. And so, we're going to continue, as I've said from day one, we will protect law enforcement. We will make sure they have the security and safety to do their jobs. We will also ensure that civilians have the ultimate protection of the First and Second Amendment. But it is my job to adjudicate the difference whether it's a breaking of federal statute or state law in the furtherance of a crime or violence against law enforcement officers, and that's when we step in.
I feel like they should have stepped in a long time ago. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, it does feel like this is people are dragging their feet on this kind of stuff, that the FBI and Pam Bondi could have gone after several Democrat officials at this point over the impeding and obstructing. And it seems like when they don't, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you updated. I do want you to know, though, that Pam Bondi has wrote a very strong worded letter to Tim Walz to get him to listen to federal law. I kid you not. She said this over the weekend.
Rape, homicide, manslaughter. That's who they're trying to protect in Minnesota. I do not understand these people. We sent Governor Walz a very strong letter today. We had been working on this letter. We got it out saying that he better support President Trump. He better support the men and women in law enforcement, because if he doesn't, we are. And that's what we're doing right now.
A strongly worded letter. A strongly worded. Did she really go on TV and say that? Yes. Yes, she did.
Were there any consequences in this letter?
Well, we'll see. This is fluid. Let's see how Governor Walz responds. Let's see what he does based on this, based on what's happening right now. But this administration is going to support the citizens. We're going to support our great men and women in law enforcement side.
Okay. Anybody else just feel like that's the biggest letdown? We're going to support President Trump. We sent a strongly worded letter. Are there any consequences? Well, we'll see. We'll see. The situation's very fluid. We'll see how Tim Walz responds. Okay. That's the Attorney General Pam Bondi over the weekend. Also over the weekend, we saw a lot of violence against ICE agents. One of them resulted in the shooting of Alex Preddy, which we have talked about ad nauseum. But the ones that don't get enough mention were, just objects being hurled and kicked at officers, violent physical assaults, including biting, tackling, punching, yes, biting. Over the weekend, a Homeland Security Investigations agent's finger was bitten clean off.
Of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off. Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene.
His finger was bitten off? She kind of just flies past that.
HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off. Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene.
It's like it was just in passing. By the way, his finger got bitten off. Bitten off by an unhinged leftist lunatic. But these are the mostly peaceful protests. It was a mostly peaceful biting, actually. If you're going to take off somebody's finger, the mostly peaceful way to do it is just the tip. Just the tip. So no, nothing to worry about. The Trump administration isn't backing down. Donald Trump has apparently ordered Tom Homan to head to Minnesota. And this is a lot of people are up in arms about this because they're noting that Tom Homan is a longtime rival of Kristi Noem, and they're saying that this is just proof that the Trump administration is butting heads and they don't know which way to go on the Minnesota stuff. Daily Mail has this story. Donald Trump has sidelined Kristi Noem and ordered her longtime rival to lead a rapidly deteriorating ICE operation in Minneapolis. True Social today. I'm sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Daily Mail says Trump's immigration crackdown plunged into yet another scandal Saturday when ICE agents shot dead American citizen Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old nurse. They breezed past the fact that he was putting himself in the middle of ICE agents and the business that they were doing, and they breezed past the fact that he was armed, but I digress. It came amid weeks of riots in Minneapolis following the killing of anti-ICE protester Renee Good, a 37-year-old mother of three. Also, they just blow right past the fact that she was using her vehicle as a weapon and hitting an ICE agent with it, but I digress. Republican lawmakers in Washington have raised concerns that Noem's operation has spiraled out of control, and Democrat leaders at the national and state levels are demanding that federal agents leave Minnesota. Trump himself has privately expressed that Noem's department mishandled the public messaging in the immediate aftermath of Preddy's shooting, according to multiple reports. The president now wants Homan, a loyal ICE veteran, to lead the operation in Minnesota that was launched at the start of December. Riots erupted on Sunday night outside a Hilton Hotel in Minneapolis, where ICE agents are believed to be staying. Protesters bashed windows, spray painted the hotel's facade. The video showed others chanting and paced in front of the building. I saw that video. Did you see that video? There was a Minneapolis police officer right there at the door, basically just watching it all unfold. I mean, that's Minneapolis police for you. Throughout all of this, they have been nearby watching it all unfold. The furious mob tried to bust through the front door, but were unsuccessful, and they continued their commotion in the street. The alarming scene continued for more than an hour without police intervening. Noem and Homan have battled for control of Trump's mass deportation agenda from the start of the administration. Under Noem's leadership, non-law enforcement DHS officials have feuded with career ICE officers who are loyal to Homan over how to detain and deport illegal migrants. I don't know if that's true or not, but hey, man, I'm here for it if Tom Homan is going to be taking over. Lord knows we need to get order back, and if Kristi Noem can't handle it, then by all means, Tom Homan, step up. One of the things I saw over the weekend, and I don't know, maybe you saw this as well, ABC. I feel like ABC is itching for a good lawsuit. ABC brought up the story of the 5-year-old boy that was detained by ICE agents. We brought this up on Friday, which just another reason why ABC should be sued. It's not like the information isn't out there. What had happened was there was a targeted enforcement operation in Minnesota against an illegal alien. The illegal alien saw ICE coming and decided to abandon his 5-year-old and flee. Well, ABC caught wind of that story and wants you to know how bad ICE is.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, what are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, the haunting images sparking a firestorm. A preschool boy standing in the Minnesota cold, swept up in the ICE crackdown. School officials say 5-year-old Liam, wearing his blue hat and backpack, and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away. The district saying Liam is among 4 students recently detained.
The growing out.
You know, they leave out the part, though, where the dad was with the 5-year-old and then fled, leaving him in the custody of ICE agents. You hear David Muir say, well, J.D. Vance said, what are we supposed to do? And it's like, okay, sure, that's exactly what he said. Except it's not. J.D. actually broke down what the agents did in the aftermath of that dad fleeing his 5-year-old son.
I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do?
And that's the only thing that David Muir mentioned that J.D. Vance said. The vice president said, what are we supposed to do? It's like, okay. ABC is begging for a lawsuit, and I hope the Trump administration obliges them. It's not just ABC, though. All the leftist media personalities are running with this story as best they can. Katie Couric, she had Mayor Jacob Fry. I think this was on her podcast, and Katie Couric said to Mayor Frey, what's going on with the 5-year-old? J.D. Vance says the 5-year-old wasn't arrested. What do you have to say about it?
You and I were talking earlier about these dual narratives that are taking place. And yesterday, J.D. Vance visited Minneapolis and said he's, quote, proud of the fact that we are enforcing the country's laws and that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. That is an exact quote. What's your response to that? The way he's characterizing what happened.
So first of all, I think it's hilarious that Katie Couric says that there's dueling narratives. And it's like, no, there actually isn't dueling narratives. There is the truth, and then there is a lie. And the lie is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. The truth is that there was a targeted enforcement operation against an illegal alien who fled the scene, leaving behind his 5-year-old. But Mayor Frey, J.D. Said that the father ran. What is your response?
Look, I can't speak to the very specifics of what happened in that incident because I haven't seen the video of it.
Oh, convenient. Now, just so you guys are aware, he hasn't seen the video, and he can't speak to the specifics. However, it's a minute and 18-second clip, and we're only about 40 seconds in. So Mayor Frey just admitted he hasn't seen the video. He can't speak to the specifics. But what he can assure you over the next 40 seconds is that Orange Man bad and Ice bad.
What I will say from what I have seen, countless instances, not just this one, but many, many, many others.
Wait. You said not just this one, but many, many others? Okay, but I thought you said you didn't know the specifics of this incident and you hadn't seen the video. Oh. But now you're going to talk like you do know the specifics and you have seen the video. Okay.
Is that they are not targeting violent offenders. And whether it is a 5-year-old, like we're discussing now, or it is a pregnant woman, or it is, the random a kid out on the street who happens to be Somali and is just going to go get some coffee. These people are getting picked up. And that's not how we operate in America.
Oh, well, they wouldn't have to operate that way in Minnesota if you would just actually let the ICE agents into the jails to get the violent illegal aliens. You wouldn't operate that way at all. But he says, I haven't seen the video. I don't know the specifics, but what I can tell you is that ICE is really bad and the Orange Man is really evil, and they'll continue this narrative as best they can. They leave out all the important points, like how that poor 5-year-old was dragged by ICE officials to a McDonald's for lunch.
And this is a horrific smear that we're seeing the mainstream media and politicians on the left, including Kamala Harris, take and run with. The facts are actually that this little boy was abandoned by his own father. His own father was being approached by ICE agents when he ran and abandoned the child. Our law enforcement, in these frigid temperatures, stayed with the child, tried to bring him into custody with the mother, who actually would not take the child into custody, which is so sad, so horrific. Our law enforcement officers actually were taking care of the child, brought him to McDonald's, were playing his favorite music to really calm him down. This is Asmark. There's major riots forming around our law enforcement officers. That is horrendous that the child is having to face this, but our law enforcement officers were taking care of him, and he's now reunited with his father in a federal processing facility.
McDonald's? His favorite music? We can't keep letting our ICE officials get away with this. These guys, they must be stopped. Someone has to do something. Please. We have to stop this. Maybe Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino can speak a little sense into this situation. These ICE agents. What audacity to take this 5-year-old boy to a McDonald's and play his favorite music for him.
Is a choice, and there are always actions that result from our choices. When you choose to use your 5-year-old child as a shield to evade law enforcement, that is a choice that someone makes, and there are actions and consequences that result from that choice.
And by the grace of God, those ICE agents were there to take care of that 5-year-old boy. It's 11:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 615-206-2200. That's 615-206-2200.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
It's a new year with new celebrations, new milestones, new commitments.
At Genesis Diamonds, we're honored to be a part of your life's most cherished moments. We're fully stocked for the new year with a massive selection of exquisite diamonds, designer rings, all the latest fashion jewelry, and of course, the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. We're proud to be a part of this amazing city and remain committed to the highest standards, full transparency, price integrity, uncompromising quality, and customer service that doesn't come from a policy manual. It comes from the heart. At Genesis, our non-commissioned experts are here to help you, to guide you, to show you all your options, to show you how to maximize your budget. No pressure, no games, no nonsense. At Genesis, we're not just another jewelry store. We're industry leaders with unbeatable value, exclusive brands, and warranties and guarantees other jewelers will never offer. So for that memorable moment in 2026, just know we're here for you and excited to celebrate with you. Learn more at GenesisDiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds.
4 kids, 2 dogs, all this snow and ice on the ground. I can tell these kids, I can beg these kids, I can plead with them to take their boots off before they come inside the house. You know where they're going to take the boots off? Yep, it's going to be on the rug in the middle of the living room, no matter how many times I've asked. Now, I would get stressed. Last winter, I was stressed about this. Now I don't. I don't stress at all. I got zero res on speed dial. These guys are going to come through. They're going to clean the carpets using their exclusive ZR water. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue, but the carpets and the upholstery aren't just going to look insanely clean. They're going to stay clean longer. The kids will be able to sprawl out on the floor. The dogs can roll around. We don't have to worry about what's in the fiber. And it's not just carpets. They'll do the works. Air duct, tile, rugs, upholstery. Perfect if you're dealing with cleaning up the house after this winter weather like we are. And right now you can get some fantastic deals. Here's what you do. Go over to ZeroResNashville.com and book online. Or pick up the phone and call my guys today. 615-535-9376. That's 615-535-9376. ZeroResNashville.com.
Are you worried about long-term care? Tune into Bulletproof Estate Planning, where we discuss wills, trust, and the hottest topic, how to not go broke in the nursing home. Join me, Estate Plan Stan, every Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on WTN Supertalk 99.7.
This is Paul Winkler. In 2026, we're celebrating 25 years on the radio in Nashville. Over that time, I've seen several investment firms come and go. While we haven't had to change our message, go to paulwinkler.com and set up your 15-minute phone call today. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor.
When NCA opened its doors in 1997 here in Middle Tennessee, our landline monitoring rate was $9.95 a month, and our cellular monitoring rate, also known as wireless, was just $19.95 a month. Fast forward to today, our rates have not changed a bit. Not one increase. My name is Shooter Stein, president of NCA. If you have an existing alarm system with another monitoring company, have you seen your monitoring rate creep up over the years? Are you in a long-term contract? Do you just feel like you're trapped? At NCA, we can convert your existing system over to our monitoring services, allowing you to have peace of mind that your monitoring rate will not creep up year after year. The best news is that you will not feel stuck in a long-term contract because NCA's monitoring service is on a month-to-month agreement. Let us help you save some money without feeling trapped. Call us today at 615-777-7NCA. That's 615-777-7622. Or visit our website at nca.cc. And don't forget, license number 645.
The newsroom. It is 11:29 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Hope we've been getting you through your workday. If you're out there, reestablishing power to neighborhoods that don't have it, you're out there scraping the roads. We appreciate you guys and we salute you. Hey, Governor Tim Walz is actually very excited that Tom Homan is going to be going to Minnesota. President Trump just truthing this out. Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. What? President Trump continues, I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, and that we are looking for, and what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I will be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota, and so am I. We've had such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched, and even in Minnesota, crime is way down. But both Governor Walz and I want to make it better. President Donald J. Trump. That is a fascinating wrinkle that we're getting this morning. Governor Tim Walz excited that Tom Homan is coming to Minnesota. We'll keep you updated on all the latest. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. Super Talk 99.7
WTN.
Been looking down here in Duck River Electric, where they are working to restore power to folks, looks like in excess of 2,000 people there who are served by Duck River Electric are still without power, and the bitter cold continues. And of course, officials are still stressing if you don't need to get out on the roads, just stay home. Looks like a truck driver found out the hard way going northbound on 65 when that tractor trailer jackknifed and took down the overhead T-Dot sign. So 65 northbound is completely blocked between Armory Drive, exit 79, and I-440, exit 80. Tennessee will receive federal assistance following the emergency declaration by Governor Bill Lee and President Trump. This authorizes federal support for emergency.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone.
All right, Ken, you're
Get in
clear.
the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs.
Hear me,
That's what
Ken?
makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
From the Beacon Capital Management Weather Center.
Staying frigid the next few days across the mid-state. I'm WSMV4 First Alert Meteorologist Melanie Lative. High temperatures will struggle to get to the 20s today, but it's going to feel more like the teens thanks to the wind chill. We are going to see plenty of sunshine, but it's not going to melt away much of anything. Our lows overnight get down to 5 degrees. We'll stay around freezing for the next few days, not breaking above freezing until the end of next weekend.
What's on your summer wish list? More beach days? Endless pool parties? No matter how you're soaking up the sun, Macy's Summer Favorite Sale has top designer looks for less. Swimming cover-ups from Anne Cole, LeBlanca, and more, 40% off. For the guys, new trunks from Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and lots of others, 50% off. Plus, get half off kids' swim, shorts, and tees, too. Get ready for summer fun. Hurry into our Summer Favorite Sale, happening now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
When you're hiring,
Have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When the new year hits, every business could use a little something to stay ahead. A lift, a jump start, an edge, or perhaps a boost. Like the all-new 5-year business boost from Comcast Business. It's the certainty of a price lock for 5 years on qualifying internet bundles. Plus, you'll have the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment, so your whole team can stay connected at a great rate. And to sweeten the deal, ask about a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. It's the boost your business deserves. So sign up for the 5-year business boost and get a 5-year price lock on ultra-reliable Wi-Fi. Plus, ask about a $500 prepaid card. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 3/22/26. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees. Best Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
The CJ Pearson Show.
Every week, we'll take on the biggest cultural, political, and moral battles in America head on.
CJ presents the most passionate voices in the black community.
When you're going around and talking to people in actual communities, you get to know what people actually care about.
As a black man, why can't I be the first one in my family to graduate from college? Why can't it be me? Shift the way that I think about the world.
Bold truth, real conviction, zero permission. This is the CJ Pearson Show.
The CJ Pearson Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. 2026 is here, and you know what we say. It's time for your annual roof inspection. You can pre-book them. Book them for March, for April, for June. Call RTM Roofing, 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. Listen every Saturday at 11 a.m. Renovation Nation. We'll be right here.
Bitcoin is changing the world, but understanding it matters. At Private Key Club Nashville, located at 1619 Galleria Boulevard in Cool Springs, we help you learn, buy, and use Bitcoin the right way. Join live or on-demand Bitcoin classes, explore loans for Bitcoin, join one of our Bitcoin mining pools, and access our confidential bulk purchase program. Education, privacy, opportunity. Visit us at privatekeynashville.io and listen to our show God, Freedom, and Bitcoin Saturday nights at 7 o'clock on 99.7 WTN.
You're listening to The Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeart, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV is up and running for you if you're snowed in like we are. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends, and leave a comment in there letting my wife know how much you love this unbelievable fern behind me. It's a real life fern. It's living. We water it. Don't ask questions. In the meantime, do you know what time it is? It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every single day at this time. All the stories that wouldn't fill a whole segment, stories that we couldn't get to, and stories that we want to make sure we talk about. We do it right now. We call it the lightning round. There we go. RJ's been producing today. I don't know if you guys know this, just behind the scenes. RJ, but you filled in for the morning show, then you filled in for my show. Are you filling in for Chad's show as well? I think you might be filling in for Chad's show as well.
No, I'm not filling in for Chad's show. I think Belle's going to be taking that one, so I'll have time to actually get your podcast and Dan's done. And then I think I come back to fill in for Murphy.
Marathon RJ over here. Did they put you up in a hotel at least?
Yeah, so Paul put me up. I'm actually doing the weekends now. I don't know if you heard. So Paul put me up in a weekend for Saturday night, and then when I was going to do Dan, he put me up for Sunday, and then obviously Mason got cold feet. Surprise.
Yep.
And now I got to cover for I'm covering for Jackson as well, and happy to do it.
Okay, well, you've done a great job today, man, and thank you for stepping up throughout the weather. Mason, his natural, his number one natural threat out there is ice, so he doesn't do it.
Also, I don't know if you saw my message earlier. You're still thinking of a name for your home studio?
Well, I just feel like, Murphy has Murphy-Lago, so I feel like I need a cool name for the Hand Manor.
May I suggest Hand Central Station or Hand Central?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. I don't necessarily love it.
I had to try it.
It doesn't flow the same way Murphy-Lago flows. And I didn't know that I needed a nickname for my house until Murphy got Murphy-Lago, and now I'm just jealous. I'm just bitter, and I'm jealous. All right, first story here in the lightning round. Tim Walz was asked over the weekend if there's anything that you can do to meet the Trump administration at least part of the way.
Is there anything you can do to meet the Trump administration at least part of the way to try to turn this temperature down?
Well, first of all, it's not a serious attempt, and the Attorney General's in that. And I would thank the local folks and Commissioner SNOWED. Thank you to you and your team over there. In that letter, they talked about, you need to hand people over who are in your jails. They're taking credit for people that we've had in jail for a long time. We always hand them over, and the Commissioner very clearly. So they're lying. They're lying. This has nothing to do with fraud. As the Attorney General said, they're not sending us forensic accountants, and these are things that have been we're dealing with now and have been for quite some time. So look, it's not a serious attempt to get at this. The way to fix this is get these folks out of here. We've continued to work with them. They asked us for these numbers. We provided them. We continue to show, and they're not serious. And look, I think everybody understands what the last request was, totally unrelated to anything on the voter files. This is, again, as the Attorney General said, Donald Trump telling everybody that the election was rigged, who started all this nightmare for America, has nothing to do with it. And I would just give a pro tip to the Attorney General. There's 2 million documents in the Epstein files we're still waiting on. Go ahead and work.
The Epstein files. What about the Epstein files? Yeah. What about the Clintons and the contempt of Congress? What about Anna Paulina Luna saying that Obama-appointed judge is the one that's holding everything up? I could go off on the Epstein files. I want him to, by the way. But when he says, is there anything that you can do to meet the Trump administration halfway? He's like, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is until they found out Tom Homan was coming to town. And now they're actually looking very forward to working with Tom Homan. There's a lot of things that Tim Walz and his administration could do to meet the Trump administration halfway. One of them would be letting ICE into the jails so that way they can get the worst off the streets first. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. There it is. All right, so the government is about to be shut down. I think we all understand that. And it's because of DHS and ICE funding. Adam Schiff over the weekend.
If Democrats vote against this DHS funding measure, my question for you, Senator, are you prepared to vote against DHS funding if it means partially shutting down the government? Again, coming on the heels of an incredibly long shutdown.
Well, I'm not giving ICE or Border Patrol another dime.
Ah, there it is. Yep, they're going to be shutting down the government. Everybody understands that they are more than willing to cut off their own nose to spite their face. This is after months that we've seen the Democrats rooting for a recession or a depression, just hoping that whatever move Donald Trump makes next, he fails at. Yes, they are 100% going to be shutting down the government the first chance they get, and it's not going to help them this time. It didn't help them last time. And we wish them the best of luck. This is going to continue. These calls are going to get louder. And in response, I think the only level-headed thing that we can do as conservatives is tell our elected representatives, it's time to nuke the filibuster. If they're going to shut down the government over DHS and ICE funding, let's nuke the filibuster. Oh, but what happens if Democrats get in? Then the Democrats will use it against us. And it's like, actually, my friends, have you seen how Abigail Spanberger is running the state of Virginia, the so-called moderate that won the governorship in Virginia? Anytime the Democrats win, they're going to do exactly what we thought they were going to do. That means when they get in, if they get the House and the Senate and the presidency ever again, then D.C. is going to be a state. Puerto Rico is going to be a state. The Supreme Court is going to be packed. I've been telling you guys this over and over and over again. We have a small window of opportunity. Now's the time to do it. Nuke the filibuster. Get the funding done. Don't let the government be shut down, and pass the SAVE Act. Nothing could be more beneficial for conservatives during midterms than that. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Donald Trump skipping the Super Bowl. Ooh, I'm excited about this. We've been talking about the Super Bowl and the halftime show. We know that Green Day is going to be opening the Super Bowl. They're not exactly huge fans of the president. Bad Bunny is going to be doing the halftime show. Word on the streets is that he is going to be wearing a dress. But, just listen, it's to honor the queer icons who came before him. I don't know who he's talking about, but that's what we're going to get. And you're going to like it, or you're a bigot. Well, Donald Trump says he's out. President Trump said he will not attend this year's Super Bowl and criticized the selection of Bad Bunny and Green Day as halftime performers, saying he was disappointed by the decision. In an interview with the New York Post, Trump said he opposed the choice of performers, recognizing that both artists have previously criticized him, saying, "I'm anti-them. I think it's a terrible choice. All it does is sow hatred. Terrible," Trump said. However, the president clarified the primary reason he decided not to attend the game was due to travel concerns. He said that the event is just too far away and that he noted he would go if it were a little bit shorter. Bad Bunny's tapped to do the Super Bowl halftime show. That decision sparked backlash at the time. Some critics objected to the choice of a Spanish speaking singer for the American event, while others pointed to his public criticism of Trump. I've pointed to the Radar Online reports that he's going to be wearing a dress. It's a bit wonky for the Super Bowl. You're going to have how many young men in this country watching this? Is that the message we want to be sending? I would say no. I get it. If they're not going to reach out to me when they're making their planning, that's fine. That's fine. Got time for another story for you here in the lightning round. I think this will be our last one. This happened in Maine over the weekend. I saw the story. ICE arrests Maine corrections officer over potential immigration violation. A Cumberland County corrections officer in Maine was arrested Wednesday by Immigration's Customs Enforcement for allegedly being in the country illegally. Now, if you're keeping score at home, this isn't the worst illegal alien that's been hired by the state of Maine. The worst was when they had an illegal alien working as a police officer in Old Orchard Beach, and that got found out over the summer. He was subsequently arrested. During a press conference on Thursday, though, Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce said ICE apprehended a county officer who had been hired in February of 2025 after what he claimed was a rigorous vetting process. Not very rigorous, just rigorous enough. Joyce claimed that the recruit was an immigrant but was actively attending immigration court to comply with required procedures. He claimed that the I-9 paperwork indicated that he was authorized to work in the United States through April of 2029. The sheriff sharply criticized the manner in which it was carried out, calling it disturbing. I find it more disturbing that you're hiring illegal aliens for your jails, but I digress. He said what's even more disturbing is the comment made by the witness that videotaped the encounter, who said that in the 3 minutes they got out, they pulled a guy from a car, handcuffed him, put him in the car, and took off, leaving his car with the windows down, lights on, unsecured and unoccupied. They left it right on the side of the street. Folks, that's Bush League policing. Much more upset about the car than the illegal alien working in his jails. Joyce also criticized how 5 agents who apprehended the man and failed to turn off his car upon apprehending him. Bush League policing. According to Joyce, he was later notified that the officer had been charged with an ICE violation and is currently being held in Boston. He goes, I guess if you're not the card-carrying U.S. citizen, then you must be illegal, because that's what they told me, is he's illegal, and he's definitely not a criminal. Well, if you cross into the country illegally, you are by definition a criminal, no matter how much that annoys your average leftist. That's just the reality of the situation. On the way, we'll be checking with Chad Benson. Ken Weaver standing by. He's got headlines on the way for you as well. Hope you are staying safe out there, driving slow as you navigate these road conditions. Or even better, I hope that you're snowed in and you're watching us on YouTube and Rumble. If you are, hit like, hit subscribe. We'll check in with Chad Benson when we get back next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN is on your screen.
Watch Super Talk TV streaming on Rumble and YouTube. See your favorite hosts, live discussions, and special segments where we stay live during the commercial breaks.
Don't just listen, watch, subscribe, and join the conversation today on Super Talk TV.
How should you invest in 2026? This is Paul Winkler. This time of year, you hear financial people talk about what you should invest in and tax moves you should make based on what's likely to happen. If your financial plan is dependent upon somebody's ability to predict the future, you're already standing on shaky ground. You don't have to be able to predict the future to be a successful investor. Set up a 15-minute phone call today at paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor.
What's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. And with gold and silver prices climbing, a lot of people are stacking precious metals at home. But I got a question for you, and the question is, well, where are you putting them? See, Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville carries real safes, including UL-rated TL and TR safes. These are tested and certified to resist tool and torch attacks. That's the kind of protection you want for firearms, cash, jewelry, and precious metals. You don't want a thin box from a big box store that a teenager can tip over. Aaron Parker runs his business the old-fashioned way, veteran-owned, Christian family business. They've been serving Tennessee since 2009. They answer their phones. They show up on time, and they only sell products they trust in their own homes. Now, if you're looking for the right safe for you and your home, you can go search for Parker Safes on YouTube. Aaron Parker breaks down every safe that they have in stock, and he does it all in a great video. You'll know what safe you want before you even hit the showroom, and they deliver and service throughout all of Nashville and the surrounding areas. Shelbyville isn't in another country. They can come to you. It is practically in their backyard. Just give them a call today. Let them know what safe you want, 931-842-6445. If you don't know what safe you want, well, then that's what the website is for, parkersafes.com. Go over there, browse what they have in stock, parkersafes.com, and then go check them out in Shelbyville. One more time, Parker Safes and Vaults, real security done right, parkersafes.com.
If you don't recognize the person in the mirror, and if diet and exercise are not working like they used to, Edge Peptide Therapy can reignite your metabolism. Lose weight and keep it off. Compounded weight loss peptides and hormone balancing are done right at Edge. They're your exclusive Nashville area peptide specialists, sourcing from the best U.S. FDA certified compounding pharmacies. At Edge, your consultation fee of $250 is waived with your initial order. Restore and thrive. Call 615-724-1878. Online at edgepeptide.com.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
It's a new year with new celebrations, new milestones, new commitments. At Genesis Diamonds, we're honored to be a part of your life's most cherished moments. We're fully stocked for the new year with a massive selection of exquisite diamonds, designer rings, all the latest fashion jewelry, and of course, the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. We're proud to be a part of this amazing city and remain committed to the highest standards, full transparency, price integrity, uncompromising quality, and customer service that doesn't come from a policy manual. It comes from the heart. At Genesis, our non-commissioned experts are here to help you, to guide you, to show you all your options, to show you how to maximize your budget. No pressure, no games, no nonsense. At Genesis, we're not just another jewelry store. We're industry leaders with unbeatable value, exclusive brands, and warranties and guarantees other jewelers will never offer. So for that memorable moment in 2026, just know we're here for you and excited to celebrate with you. Learn more at GenesisDiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds.
We're working hard for a brighter tomorrow, leading innovation that energizes communities, preserving the region's natural resources, and partnering with local power companies. TVA is building tomorrow together.
Attention taxpayers. If you owe $5,000 or more and have missed another tax deadline, you're officially on the IRS's radar. The IRS has resumed aggressive collections. That means wage garnishments, bank levies, even seizures of your home, car, or retirement accounts. If you owe $5,000 or more and missed the deadline, you're stacking new debt on top of what you already owe. Call Priority Tax Relief now. Their experts fight back fast and are saving their clients millions in tax debt every month.
I owed over $50,000. And they settled it for pennies on the dollar. These guys are as legit as they come.
After speaking on my behalf with the IRS, my entire debt of $25,000 will be eliminated.
Whether you've received collection letters or you're already facing liens and garnishments, call for your free consultation. There are no upfront fees. Priority Tax Relief. Let's make your taxes our priority. Call 800-790-0589. 800-790-0589. 800-790-0589.
Priority Tax Relief.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It is 11:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I am broadcasting live from Murfreesboro. Chad Benson, though, is in studio, 10 Music Circle East. What's up, Chad?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. I feel kind of bad for you. I mean, Ken's at his house in the borough. I'm at my house in the borough. You're at the studio. Only one of the three of us are wearing pants, and it's a bit of a letdown for those of you who have to go into the office today.
Well, normally I'm the one not wearing pants.
That's true.
And I wanted to not wear pants. My wife told me I look stupid and don't do that.
Well, you shouldn't have. You got to ask for forgiveness, not
Yeah,
permission.
she caught me on the way out. So what are you doing? You're setting a bad
what did you think
example.
of the snow over the weekend? Your kids have fun?
They did. They had a lot of fun. And then we had a long power outage.
Oh, no.
How about you? Did you guys sled or what?
We have not sled. We have not ventured out anywhere. I was watching the local news, and it was like I saw people sledding, and it confirmed my fears that we'd get down there, and the little snow that we got wouldn't be there anymore.
Well, it's on the walk here, there was a lot of snow, a lot of ice, a lot of trees that had icicles. Lots of them tipped over.
How long did you guys lose power for?
I want to say about 16, 18 hours.
Dude, I would have bet that you would have been the one to not lose power and that I would have lost power.
I would have thought so, too.
It's very weird.
I would have thought, I'm like, we're in the middle of the stadium. But no, we lost power from about midnight till about 4:30. I got the last quarter of the Denver Patriots game. That's when our power came on. It flickered on a couple times for a minute or two, and then it went off. But you guys didn't lose any power?
No, I didn't even get a flicker.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice, man. You got to love that. How about now? How many trees tipped over?
I mean, in the neighborhood, we lost some limbs, but nothing over the top. What about you guys where you are?
Well, when I walked in today at the Roundabout, that little park across the street, every tree is tipped over. And it is. It's some of them are snapped, some of them may snap back, but then on the walk up, it is the trees in the other apartment building across the street. Most of them have collapsed in some way, shape, or form.
Now, how cold is it outside? Because I do recall for the past several days we have had a homeless guy at the Roundabout dancing.
Yes, that guy.
Is it too cold?
It's too cold. He is not out there.
Oh.
He is not out there. We went and looked the other night. He is not out there, which is thank God. It is currently, it feels like 6, and I would say yes on that.
Jeez Louise. What are you talking about today on the show? What are you going to focus in on?
We're going to talk a lot about, obviously, the chaos going on around the city and the state itself, as well as the entire nation. I mean, 11,000 flights canceled yesterday.
And I think it was Joan Jones said it's the most flights that have ever been canceled in American history.
Yeah. Not since COVID have we seen this kind of thing, and not since 9/11, even anything close to it.
It's insane.
It is insane. So we'll talk a bit about that. Obviously, what happened in Minnesota, football, Kanye speaking out. Very interesting. Very interesting. The Kanye.
Let's What's he speaking there to
Go. He took a full page ad in the Wall Street Journal. Talk about he's sorry because he was nuts.
Oh, all right. Well,
he
I'm
admitted it to the world.
Chad's in next.
Hey, listen, have fun at
This is Super Talk.
Buckingham Palace. Buckingham
Palace. I like that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. It still doesn't flow like Murphy-Lago though.
No. How about Playboy Hanshin?
Ooh.
I like. Let's see.
It's a little weird with all the kids we got running around.
But it's funny, man.
Yeah. We'll keep working on it. Chad's in next. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
WWTN, Hendersonville, Nashville. From the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
And the Mark Spain Real Estate WTN Newsroom. Information fueled.